Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Monday Morning Musings, or as I like to call it, Monday DM, Monday Double M. We're going into week 10. We're in the double digits. When it comes to the collective sanity of our country, we are in the end game now. We'll see. I'm doing okay. Hope you're doing okay out there as well, one day at a time. But upon further reflection, now that we've entered into the double digits, we can't go back to the way things were before. This is a pivot for everybody, for everyone. This is a gut check for what really matters, a personal inventory for every single citizen on planet Earth. Look around. The skies are clear. The water is clean. So many enterprises are realizing how much waste is generated by commuting. I remember there's three types of currencies: time, relationships, and money. So let's create an example here. Let's talk about Bob. Okay, Bob has a good job, works 5 days a week, slightly over 40 hours. He spends 30 minutes each way getting to work. You know, driving on the weekend without traffic, it'd probably take him 20. But with traffic, it takes him about 30. That's an hour of commute time per day, 5 days a week, 4 weeks a month. That's 20 hours. 20 hours spent a month. 5 hours a week. So what could you do with those 20 hours a month extra? That's a part-time job that you could do, here and there, 5 hours a week. That's a hobby. That's playing guitar, that's singing, that's Warhammer painting, that's dancing, binging 2 seasons of a beloved show, reading a book, taking a class, raising a pet, raising your kids, improving your marriage. I improve my marriage every day by not being married. Single life, bachelor life, I enjoy it. Definitely keeping me sane amidst all this stuff that's happening. But glad I have a pet, glad I have a cat, glad I have a creature that's dependent. But there's that connection of getting through this together, and I think she has been tolerating me being home all this time pretty well. She definitely likes to play a lot more and gives me the indication she wants to play outside. And she likes to play fetch, but instead of me throwing the stick, I just trace the stick around the ground, and she'll chase it like crazy. And then I have a toy where it's like a long wand, and at the end is this big bushy tail. And I'll whip the tail around, and she'll look at it and maybe play with it occasionally if she's rolling on her back, but then she won't really mess with it. But then if I flip it around and just use the handle and have that go all over the place on the ground, she goes crazy, and I'll chase after it, and I'll trace it up a tree, and she'll jump up the tree. So it's fascinating how you have the fancy end of the toy, and the cat doesn't give a damn, but then you put the stick out. I wonder if dogs are like that. If every dog that I've had, they seem pretty normal. They could tell what a toy was, and they'd go after the ball. Pretty instinctual. So I wonder if Selena, my cat, just likes playing life in hard mode. Instead of chasing the big object, she'll actually go for the really, really small one. Like when you have the laser pointers, the red dot, she loves to chase that around as well. Because I've had so much time to spend playing with her to make it part of a routine, it's just been fun to watch the mannerisms. And she'll get needy, though. She'll just meow and look at me and be like, come on, I want to go play. I'm like, I got to work. I got to do stuff. And then I also think, that's why I don't have kids. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to have the time necessary to raise them. And it's been very fascinating as well, being 34 years old now. I'm the same age as my father when I was 6 years old as a kid. And that's when I have some of my earliest memories, about 5, 6 years old. And reflecting on, how you look at your parents as your heroes growing up. And then when you become a grown up and you start to become the same age as them, how much more appreciation you have for what it took to raise you and your siblings, and how crazy this world really is, and how much refuge and love and support and patience and kindness and foresight and planning they really offered us as a family. It's just, it's one of those age-old principles about youth. You don't really know. You don't really know until you're old enough to have lived it. But I'm very happy to have a great mom. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. That's why I got Sindel as my art piece, the most famous mom from Mortal Kombat. But yeah, I got lucky with a real good mom. And I got the art side from her too. And, introduced me to the love of so many great things, but especially the arts and dance. So my mother had a good Mother's Day over with the rest of my siblings in Virginia, hanging out with her grandkid, Adeline, and it's crazy to see pictures of her and how much she's growing up. She's over 5 now. Yeah, family's important, and a lot of people are realizing that they're spending more time with their family. This 20 hours a month, that could also go to streaming or playing more video games. And ladies, I'm going to give you a little secret. I'm going to give you the key to what every guy wants. And that's more alone time. That's peace and quiet. That's to be in his man cave and play just one more chapter of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Just one more before we can jump into the effort of our shared burdens, sharing our burdens, being in a relationship. So that's more time for the same amount of productivity. That's what these enterprises are realizing. Bob has more time for himself, yet he can get the same amount of work done and be paid the same amount of money, if not more so, because his energy being spent getting back and forth to work, sitting in traffic and going like, oh man, I got this 10 o'clock meeting I'm super nervous about. So he's not, focused on the road. Some things can't be replaced. Now, the productivity and so much happening online is fascinating. And companies and people are realizing they can do a lot more work from home. But some scenarios, some meetings have to be done in person. In the entertainment industry, I've had a lot of really important meetings of being in a big room with very key people that are giving the yes or no, the yay or nay if your show is going to happen. And it's the body language. We use body language to communicate more than words if you separate the two, but it's both. We communicate with both body language and words. So you need to be in those rooms in order to make those deals or read the room if you're presenting information or your product or your service. If you can tell that things are not going as well as they should, or they're starting to squirm over a certain topic, yet you have the prepared answers, you know what their trepidations are going to be, and because you're prepared, boom, you lay it out. A little bit tougher to tell what's going through people's minds when you can only see their torso. You can only see their face. And not everybody, reads their emotions on their face or knows how to emote with their face, as well as communicating to somebody in person, looking at a camera in front of a screen. I'm used to looking at a camera and talking to a camera. Most people are not. And it's going to be an adjustment for them to communicate that way. But overall, there's no going back. Look at how nice it is outside. You can see fish in the canals of Venice. LA has clear skies, beautiful clear skies here in Seattle. I don't have a vehicle anymore. I haven't used a vehicle at all since the tow truck towed me in the van back after the accident. But after I scrapped the van, I've walked everywhere I need to go. I'm thinking about purchasing a bicycle. I'm waiting for paychecks to come in if I'm going to make any type of a purchase like that. But I don't need to be using gasoline. And that's been weighing on my mind for so long of like, I'd really love to help the planet, but my van uses gas. I use Lyft, which is, a mix. You can get your hybrids or your electrics there. I prefer to use electric wherever I go, but it's just not feasible. It's not convenient. Well, I'm going to make it convenient for me to just try to use it as less as possible if I have to. And, if I decide to become a flight attendant, and that's obviously using a lot of gas in those airplanes, and it's just like, this is tough. It's a job. And that's where I understand people having that argument of the economy of like, well, what about our jobs? I get that. But this is why we have to have a better plan. Just like the New Deal, the Green New Deal. Say what you want if it's good or bad or whatever, but at least it's something on the table to change fundamentally the infrastructure of our country, give people more jobs, and not destroy the planet. I think that should be, kind of the number one thing right now. Let's not destroy the environment around us. And maybe showcasing what happens when humans can be still. How much more benefit the earth sees and people like Bob will see. So hopefully we'll see those changes. But there's been the smell of revolution in the air. Just hints of it. But it's been there for a little while now. And if there's more entanglements and issues with government programs that should be bailing out people and not corporations, then you're going to have more and more upset people. I applied for the PPP loan, and it looks like I only qualified for $250, which I found insulting and laughable, and I shared that on Twitter, but other independent contractors had encountered similar, where one only qualified for $750, where these giant restaurants are getting paid so much. So it's disheartening, absolutely, but the fight goes on. Pumping out more content, having more fun with that. I've made 2 videos that I would like for you to check out. The reveal video, my first ever reveal reaction video. My reaction video has over 3,500 views, and it's still climbing. So thanks to Ed Boon for tweeting that out, the co-creator of Mortal Kombat and creative director of NetherRealm Studios. Good guy. I produced a j.gray report, which is going to be every Sunday now. And it was about Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath and the price point of a $40 expansion. Why there is precedent for it, but how some people felt confused, I would say, would be the most accurate word to describe everybody. Some were angry, some were totally fine with the price point, but everybody was a little like, what's going on? I thought because of precedent, which again is the keyword of the report, I thought because I purchased the premium edition, the $100 edition, I'm getting everything related to Mortal Kombat 11 in terms of DLC. It's like, well, yeah, for Combat Pack 1, but this is more, this is bigger than a DLC. This is an expansion pack. But yeah, I highly recommend you watch that report because I do a giveaway at the end, and I'd love for you to participate. I also have some homework for everybody, and this is for you to get a jump on the giveaway happening next Sunday. I'll announce the winner for previous Sunday's giveaway, so make sure to get those comments. Like, comment, and subscribe on that video. But then stay tuned for next week's report, next Sunday's report, because I'm going to talk about my wish list, what's next on my wish list for a Mortal Kombat or any NetherRealm title. Then also mental health. There is a great article at The Undefeated. I'm going to put the link in the description below. It's written by Brando Simeo Starkey. The headline is Mental Stress is an Unspoken Part of the Game for Esports Athletes. Brad Scar Vaughn takes time away from gaming for better work-life balance. And Brad Vaughn, Scar, was one of my podcast guests. You can check out that episode as well on my YouTube. And a great guy, amazing competitor. What a career in NetherRealm games. But also, I totally empathize and can understand where he's coming from. In particular, when we used video games as an escape, as a hobby, and then they became a career, a job, and our performance is wrapped around our self-worth. And if you're dedicating so much time to a tournament and you don't place high enough to make any money, brother, sister, That is a lot of pressure. If you play for the Yankees and you lose the game, you still get paid. If you go to Combo Breaker and you only make 32nd out of the hundreds of people that signed up, you're not getting paid. You're out of money. You're negative by spending the time and the money for travel, food, hotel, entry fee, maybe some swag. But that's where passion comes in. You love it. So many people go because it's an escape for them, and they go because it's a big social event. But for the top tier players, the top 50 players that dedicate every day to being the best they can and knowing that if they don't play today, their opponent's playing today and they're going to be behind, that's a lot of mental anguish. And this article also details the need for peers, but mentorship on how to navigate this space. It is a bit of the Wild West, a bit of the gold rush still, but we have tools and utilities and resources that can help us through that. But the number one resource you have is friends. I know it sounds cliche, but the biggest struggle I had in my adult life, at least recently, was to be able to share my burden with others, to share my burdens with others, as I have always been ready to share, been willing to have them share their burdens with me, but it was not the other way around. I try to deal with my own problems, but that amount of weight shouldn't be carried by one person. And I'm really, really glad that Scar opened up to his friends and to his teammates. That definitely helped him out. So I highly recommend, because this is Mental Health Awareness Month, to read this article. Again, the description, the link's going to be in the description below. And take a breath. And if you can, go outside and enjoy some nature. I got the windows open right now, hearing the birds chirp, spending some more time in the sun. Do so. Your body needs it. We're part of nature. Be in nature. And it'll help you have that better balance. And moving through whatever scenario is going to let up, I have no idea. I'm prepared for what I like to call it the lost summer. We're just going to stay indoors and everybody's going to be doing their own thing all summer long. But who knows? I don't know. I'm just taking it one day at a time. But I do know that I'm way happier being productive, and I'm glad I have the resources to be productive at home by making this content and streaming and having fun with everybody with these video games. But I'm also glad that I have the balance of reading books and lighting a fire in my backyard and being out in nature and finding balance. Balance to me has always been the key to happiness, is balance, balance, balance. But you have to find it. And to quote Morpheus from The Matrix, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. And mentorship is important, because those of us that are a little bit older in this scene have definitely walked the path. For me, since 2010, working in the video game space. And I should be taking a more active role to try to be that mentor, but I would say, the balance in that is not to be too prideful. Be like, I know better than everybody else, so here's what I have to say. I would prefer somebody kind of reached out to me and asked me questions rather than me soliciting advice all the time. But I'm grateful that I have had a number of people come to me throughout the years, and I have been able to go to a number of people throughout the years and have given me some gosh darn good advice. And sometimes, folks, that advice comes from a really good story, and it comes from a video game. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, that like button. It makes a difference. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers right now and keep the upward trend of more viewers and making more creative and fun content that y'all enjoy. If you weren't able to talk to your mom yesterday, give her a call today. But give her a call next week as well. Why not surprise her? And check out that article. Take care of yourself. And read a good book. Let me know what books you're reading in the comments. Tune into the content that I'm going to be uploading throughout the week. And make sure to check out those two videos, the reaction video and the Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath j.gray report, so you can jump into that giveaway. and the winner will be announced this upcoming Sunday on the next j.gray report. My plan for the j.gray podcast, by the way, is I want to upload an episode every Tuesday to iTunes and Spotify. So I'm going to work on that tomorrow and upload one episode every Tuesday and some clips on YouTube for the multiple episodes that I have. And by that time, I think that's going to be another 8 weeks. At the end of those 8 weeks, if it's clear to have guests, I will have a live guest on. And if not, then I'll have a remote guest. I am working on trying to get a remote guest for a special j.gray podcast episode here relatively soon, but I don't want to pressure the person because he's working on a lot of projects, so it's all good. Well, thank you again, folks. Sorry, this is kind of a longer outro. You know what? Not sorry. A lot of things to plug. It's good to be plugging things. It's good to produce. It's good to be flexing the creative muscles, and thank you for being on this journey with me. We'll see where it goes. Until then, I'll see you online.